He is known for being an influential philosopher and theologian. He is recognized for his contributions to natural theology and the school of thought known as Thomism. His name is Thomas Aquinas. In the small county of Aquino in the Kingdom of Sicily, Italy, a brilliant mind was born into a family of scholars and mystics. This young boy, named Thomas Aquinas, showed an insatiable thirst for knowledge from a very young age. His parents recognized his potential and encouraged him to study various schools of philosophy and art, hoping to cultivate his mind and broaden his perspective. Little did they know that their son would grow up to become one of the most influential philosophers and theologians in history. Thomas Aquinas, also known as the Doctor Angelicus and the Doctor Communis, was not just a philosopher and theologian, but also a jurist and a Dominican friar. His teachings would later give rise to a school of thought known as Thomism. Thomas believed that God was the source of both natural reason and faith, and he sought to reconcile Aristotelian philosophy with the principles of Christianity. He delved deep into the intricacies of theology, exploring profound questions about truth and the nature of God. His works, such as the Disputed Questions on Truth and the Summa contra Gentiles, became renowned in intellectual circles. But it was his unfinished masterpiece, the Summa Theologica, that truly solidified his legacy. Thomas's commentaries on Scripture and Aristotle were also highly regarded, showcasing his breadth of knowledge and intellectual prowess. His Eucharistic hymns even found their way into the Church's liturgy, a testament to his multifaceted talents. Thomas Aquinas left an indelible mark on the Catholic Church and the world of philosophy. He was honored as a saint by the Church, and his teachings became integral to the education of future priests and deacons. Pope Benedict XV praised Thomas as the model teacher, and the Church declared his teachings to be its own. Even outside the realm of Catholicism, Aquinas's influence was recognized by scholars worldwide. English philosopher Anthony Kenny hailed him as one of the greatest philosophers in the Western world. Join us as we embark on a journey through the life and ideas of Thomas Aquinas, a man who sought to bridge the gap between reason and faith, leaving a lasting impact on philosophy, theology, and the Catholic Church. Thomas Aquinas, a renowned philosopher and theologian, believed in the importance of social justice and its role in creating a just society. He saw social justice as a form of legal or general justice, where individuals contribute to the common good. According to Thomas, Christians have a duty to provide for the poorest members of society, emphasizing the need for distributive justice. In Thomas's philosophy, distributive justice was about the proportional distribution of common goods based on an individual's contribution to the community. This meant that resources and provisions should be allocated to individuals according to their level of involvement and support for the greater good. By prioritizing the well-being of the community's most vulnerable members, Thomas advocated for a society built on fairness and equality. Thomas's concept of social justice emphasized the reciprocal relationship between individuals and the common good. While distributive justice focused on the community's responsibility to individuals, social justice highlighted the obligation of individuals to contribute to the betterment of society. This idea of mutual support and cooperation was crucial in establishing a just and harmonious society. Understanding the various forms of justice is also essential in comprehending Thomas's philosophy. In addition to distributive and social justice, Thomas recognized commutative justice, which pertained to fair exchanges and transactions between individuals, and retributive justice, which dealt with appropriate punishment for wrongdoing. These different types of justice collectively contributed to the overall goal of creating a just and balanced society. Thomas Aquinas's philosophy of social justice offers valuable insights for our daily lives. It reminds us of our responsibility to contribute to the common good and support those in need. By embracing the principles of distributive justice, we can strive for a fairer society where resources are allocated based on merit and everyone has an equal opportunity to thrive. Thomas's philosophy encourages us to consider the impact of our actions on the greater community and work towards a more just and equitable world. Thomas Aquinas, a renowned philosopher of the Middle Ages, delved deep into the realm of epistemology, the study of knowledge. He believed that in order for humans to attain any form of truth, they required divine assistance. Aquinas argued that the intellect needed to be moved by God in order to engage in its cognitive processes. This divine intervention was essential for the acquisition of knowledge. However, Aquinas also acknowledged that human beings possess a natural capacity to acquire knowledge without relying solely on divine revelation. While special divine revelation does occur, particularly in matters pertaining to faith, Aquinas emphasized that humans have the inherent ability to know many things through their own faculties. He believed that God, in accordance with human nature, bestowed a light upon mankind, enabling them to comprehend certain truths. Aquinas compared this divine illumination to the way forms are bestowed upon created things by God. Just as an object possesses the power to perform specific actions in accordance with its form, the human understanding is endowed with intelligible light. This light, inherent within each individual, is sufficient for perceiving intelligible things that can be apprehended through the senses. Aquinas' philosophy on epistemology carries profound implications for our daily lives. It reminds us that while we may seek knowledge through our own intellectual capacities, we should also recognize the importance of divine guidance. By acknowledging the role of divine assistance in our pursuit of truth, we can cultivate a deeper understanding of the world around us. Aquinas' insights on the relationship between divine help and human knowledge continue to resonate in modern times. As we navigate the complexities of our existence, his philosophy encourages us to embrace both our natural faculties and the potential for divine intervention. By doing so, we can find a harmonious balance between reason and faith, enriching our understanding of the world and our place within it. Thomas Aquinas, a prominent philosopher and theologian, had a deep understanding of the natural law and its implications for human behavior. He recognized that the principles of the natural law were self-evident and provided a foundation for moral actions. According to Aquinas, the natural law precept prescribed pursuing what reason knows is good while avoiding evil. This precept was based on the belief that the good is naturally beneficial and the evil is its contrary. Aquinas categorized natural goods into three categories: substantial goods of self-preservation, common goods shared by animals and humans, and goods specific to rational and intellectual beings. He believed that to will these goods to oneself and others was an act of love. Aquinas stated that the love precept, which obligated loving God and neighbor, was the first general principle of the natural law. He saw these precepts as self-evident to human reason and considered them the foundation for all the precepts of the Decalogue. Aquinas also emphasized the role of synderesis, which he described as a habit containing the precepts of the natural law, in guiding human actions. He believed that all acts of virtue were prescribed by the natural law, as reason naturally dictated individuals to act virtuously. Aquinas defined the four cardinal virtues as prudence, temperance, justice, and fortitude, which he considered to be natural and binding on everyone. He also recognized the existence of three theological virtues: faith, hope, and charity, which had a supernatural aspect and were distinct from other virtues. In addition to the natural law, Aquinas distinguished between different types of law: eternal, natural, human, and divine. He viewed eternal law as the decree of God that governed all creation, while natural law was the human participation in the eternal law, discovered through reason. Human law, on the other hand, was the application of the precepts of the natural law to specific situations by human reason. Aquinas believed that these particular determinations, known as human laws, were necessary for governing societies. Aquinas' philosophy on ethics and the natural law remains relevant in our daily lives. It reminds us of the importance of pursuing what reason recognizes as good while avoiding evil. It emphasizes the virtues of prudence, temperance, justice, and fortitude, which guide us in making morally sound decisions. Aquinas' understanding of the natural law also highlights the significance of love for God and neighbor, as well as the need for human laws to translate the general principles of the natural law into specific determinations for societal governance. Thomas's theory of political order became highly influential, shaping our understanding of governance and social interaction. He recognized that humans are social beings, living in communities and engaging with fellow members. This recognition led to the concept of division of labor, where different individuals contribute their unique skills and abilities for the benefit of the community as a whole. One of Thomas's key contributions was the distinction he made between being a good man and being a good citizen. This differentiation was crucial in the development of libertarian theory, as it highlighted the importance of individual autonomy and the limitations of state interference. Thomas argued that the sphere of individual autonomy should be protected, safeguarding personal freedom and allowing individuals to live their lives without unnecessary interference from the government. Thomas believed that monarchy was the ideal form of government. He saw the advantage in having a monarch who did not need to compromise with others, as this could lead to more effective decision-making and governance. However, Thomas emphasized that for monarchy to be the best form of government, the monarch must be virtuous. If the monarch is morally corrupt, monarchy can quickly turn into the worst kind of government. Thomas also recognized that oligarchy had a higher risk of degenerating into tyranny compared to monarchy. To prevent a king from becoming a tyrant, Thomas argued that the political powers of the king must be curbed and limited. He believed that unless all parties involved can reach an agreement, tolerating a tyrant might be necessary to avoid the chaos of anarchy. In matters of doctrine and ethics, Thomas emphasized the primacy of the Catholic Church over worldly rulers. While monarchs were seen as God's representatives in their territories, the Church, represented by the popes, held a higher authority. This meant that worldly rulers were obligated to align their laws with the doctrines and determinations of the Catholic Church. Another important aspect of Thomas's philosophy was his stance on slavery. He rejected the notion that slavery was the natural state of man and asserted that a slave is, by nature, equal to his master. Thomas distinguished between natural slavery, which he believed could benefit both the master and the slave, and servile slavery, which completely stripped the slave of autonomy and was deemed worse than death. Thomas's doctrines on the fair price, the right of tyrannicide, and the equality of all baptized individuals in the communion of saints served as checks on political power, preventing it from descending into tyranny. These ideas resonated with those who opposed the Roman Catholic Church, as well as with thinkers like Kant and Spinoza who engaged in critical discussions of Thomism. Thomas Aquinas's philosophy of political order provides us with valuable insights into governance, individual autonomy, and the relationship between the Church and the state. His ideas continue to shape our understanding of these concepts, guiding us in navigating the complexities of political life in our daily lives. Thomas Aquinas, a renowned philosopher and theologian, delved into the nature of the soul and its relationship to the human body. According to Aquinas, a human being is not merely a physical entity but a composite of body and soul. He argued that the soul is the form of the body, making it the essence of what it means to be human. Aquinas believed that only living beings, with their form-matter composition, could truly be called human, while dead bodies were only human in a metaphorical sense. In his seminal work, the Summa Theologiae, Aquinas emphasized that the soul is not a corporeal or physical entity. Instead, he described it as the act of a body. Aquinas believed that the soul, being immaterial, does not rely on bodily organs for its operations. He posited that the intellect, a faculty of the soul, is incorporeal and operates independently of the physical body. As he eloquently stated, the operation of anything follows the mode of its being. Aquinas further argued that the soul is not matter, whether corporeal or spiritual. He contended that if the soul were material, it would be incapable of understanding universals, which are immaterial concepts. To comprehend universals, the soul must share the same nature as these abstract forms. Thus, humans possess rational souls that are independent of the body, capable of grasping universal truths. However, it is essential to note that a human being is a single material substance derived from the union of body and soul. Aquinas's profound insights into the nature of the soul and its connection to the body continue to have relevance in our daily lives. His teachings remind us that our humanity encompasses both physical and spiritual dimensions. By recognizing the immaterial aspect of our being, we can appreciate our capacity for intellectual pursuits and the understanding of abstract concepts. Aquinas's philosophy encourages us to embrace the unity of body and soul, recognizing that our actions and experiences are shaped by this essential relationship. Thomas Aquinas, a renowned philosopher and theologian, approached economic questions through the lens of justice, which he believed to be the highest moral virtue. He defined justice as a habit whereby man renders to each his due by a constant and perpetual will. For Aquinas, justice was rooted in natural law and was essential for navigating economic matters. Aquinas emphasized the importance of determining the just price of goods, distinct from prices that exploit others. He believed that the just price should be based on the worth of the good, which he viewed as a measure of its quality. According to Aquinas, the price of a good should reflect its usefulness to humanity, acknowledging that each person may perceive the value of a good differently. For instance, he noted that gold and silver were considered costly not only for their usefulness but also for their excellence and purity. Furthermore, Aquinas extensively discussed the concept of usury, the lending of money with interest. He strongly condemned this practice, asserting that it was unjust because it involved selling something that does not exist, leading to inequality, which goes against the principles of justice. Aquinas argued that money and similar goods are only consumed when used, and charging interest for their use went beyond the rightful compensation for the good. He believed that lenders were charging for something that did not belong to them, thus failing to render to each his due. Aquinas's views on economic justice and usury were reflected in the teachings of the Catholic Church. The Second Lateran Council denounced usury as detestable and shameful, forbidden by divine and human laws. The Fifth Lateran Council defined usury as the pursuit of gain and profit without work, expense, or risk, emphasizing its wrongful nature. Even in modern times, Aquinas's interpretation of natural moral law continues to influence Western perspectives on various economic issues. Concepts such as unfair labor practices, living wages, price gouging, monopolies, fair trade practices, and predatory pricing can be seen as remnants of Aquinas's teachings on economic justice. Aquinas's philosophy offers valuable insights for our daily lives, reminding us of the importance of justice in economic transactions. It prompts us to consider the worth and usefulness of goods when determining their prices, as well as the ethical implications of lending money with interest. Aquinas' emphasis on rendering to each their due serves as a guiding principle for navigating economic choices in a just and equitable manner.
Do you want to explore more philosophers? Who do you want to see featured next? Subscribe and leave a comment below to let me know. I'll see you in the next video.